Welcome to the Bedtime Tales, where the night doesn't just bring rest, it brings questions. King Ford. Have you ever wondered what's really going on inside your head? Not just your thoughts, but the place behind them. The space where dreams form, where memories hide, where something quiet watches. Tonight, we're not going far. We're going inward, into the folds of the human brain, that small, silent universe behind your eyes, shaping everything you know, everything you feel, everything you are. What makes a thought appear? Why do dreams feel real, even after we wake? And who's doing the wondering when you pause to think? This isn't just a story, it's a journey, one into the deepest part of you. And what you'll find there may surprise you. So lie back, let your mind loosen its grip, let the tension fall away from your thoughts, and let's drift together into one of the greatest mysteries of all, the one living quietly inside your own skull. Because here, on the Bedtime Tales, we don't just tell stories, we remember the ones already inside you.
Have you ever truly wondered what's going on inside your head? Not just the day-to-day thoughts or passing memories, but the actual space behind all of it. The quiet theater where your dreams play, where words echo long before they are spoken. That hidden hum of something watching, listening, remembering. What is that? What is the mind, really? Inside your head is something no larger than a small cauliflower. It's soft, wrinkled, oddly shaped. But within it is everything. Your childhood laughter. The smell of rain on concrete. Your first heartbreak. The way a certain song still brings tears to your eyes. How can it all fit in something you can hold in your hands? Even more strange, this organ doesn't feel pain. It doesn't see light. It hears nothing. It sits in perfect darkness, shielded by bone. And yet, it is the source of every light, sound, feeling, and story you've ever known. When you look at the stars, your eyes collect light. But it's your brain that turns that light into meaning. When you hear someone's voice, a friend, a stranger, someone you've lost, it's your brain that recognizes it, colors it with memory and emotion. And when you dream, it's your brain again. No eyes, no ears. Just thought. Inventing entire worlds while you sleep. How? How does your brain do that? How does it know that it's doing it? Because when you're dreaming, you're inside the dream. You're not just watching, you're feeling, wondering, sometimes even realizing that you're dreaming. So, who is that? Who's watching from within? The brain is not just a machine. It's not just tissue. It's a living mystery. Billions of neurons send sparks of electricity down microscopic roads called axons. They connect, disconnect, reconnect. They form new paths every day. Right now, in this moment, your brain is reshaping itself. Softly, silently, as you listen. Your thoughts are not just reactions. They are architects. What you focus on, what you remember, what you feel, it all reshapes the brain. Isn't that strange? That the brain can rewire itself just by being used? That your experiences write themselves into its very structure? Every story you remember changes slightly each time you remember it. Every emotion you revisit carves deeper grooves in your internal landscape. Your memories are not snapshots. They are alive. Think of your first memory. Try to bring it to the front of your mind. Where was it stored all this time? What called it back? And now ask this, why that memory? Out of all the millions your brain could have chosen, somewhere inside, the neurons fired. They found a path. They pulled an old feeling from the dark. Even the act of wondering about your brain changes your brain. It doesn't wait for permission. It listens, responds, adapts. And it changes you in return. This is only the beginning. What lies deeper, beneath memory, beneath language? What is emotion made of? What is intuition, instinct, imagination? Are they real? Or are they guesses the brain makes in silence? What happens when you fall in love? When you feel dread before something happens? When you sense that someone is watching, even if your eyes say otherwise? Where do those signals come from? What ancient systems are firing? And why? In the stillness of your own mind, you may begin to notice more. There's no need to answer these questions now. Just let them echo. Let them stretch out in the quiet space behind your eyes. Soon, we'll begin to explore the parts of the brain, the structures, the names, the functions. But for now, just breathe. Let wonder do what it does best. Open doors, gently. You don't need to solve the mystery. You're already inside it. You know, if you were to gently peel back the layers, skin, skull, and protective tissue, you'd find something fragile, pulsing, and alive. A masterpiece of nature. You might expect to see wires or gears. Instead, you find folds, wrinkles, patterns shaped by evolution and time. The outermost layer of this structure is the cerebral cortex. Think of it like the bark of a tree, wrapping around everything else. It's where higher thinking happens. Language, imagination, self-awareness. If you've ever wondered what makes you uniquely you, this is the place. Just beneath, hidden in the center, lies something more ancient, the limbic system. This is the emotional brain. The part that knows how you feel long before your thoughts catch up. When you suddenly tear up watching a quiet scene, or get goosebumps hearing an old song, it's this system stirring. Tucked at the base is the brainstem. It doesn't care about your thoughts or emotions. It cares whether you're alive. It keeps your heart beating, your lungs breathing, even when you're asleep or lost in a daydream. It's the quiet guardian, always on. And then there's the cerebellum. Small, almost hidden. It controls balance, movement, coordination. You don't think about walking, you just walk. You don't think about typing a word, you just type it. That's the cerebellum, working like a background dancer who never misses a step. But none of these parts work alone. They're all connected by an unimaginably complex web of pathways. Some are fast, sharp, immediate, like reflexes. Others are slow, soft, unfolding across a lifetime, like learning to love, or forgiving someone, or becoming who you are. So here's something to think about. When you feel or which part of the brain feels it? When you lie awake at night replaying a moment from the past, which system is lighting up? When you suddenly know something deep in your gut, long before you can explain it, what region whispers that quiet certainty? Scientists have named the parts. They've drawn maps. But still, no one has found the place where a memory becomes meaningful, or where a dream starts. or where an idea is born. It's not just chemistry. It's not just electricity. It's something more. And perhaps that something more is what we're really searching for, quietly, every time we pause to wonder about our own mind. Soon, we'll explore how this incredible structure can reshape itself. How thoughts and actions leave fingerprints on the brain. But first, just rest in the mystery. Let your breath fall gently. You are not just using your brain. You are living inside it. Right now, even as you listen, something inside you is shifting. Your brain isn't just taking in these words, it's reacting to them. Reorganizing, stretching, adjusting pathways so that this moment, however small, leaves a mark. This is the essence of neuroplasticity. The idea that your brain is never truly finished. It is not a fixed object. It's more like a river, always moving, carving new paths. The things you learn, the stories you hear, the habits you repeat, they don't just pass through you. They change you. Your brain rewires itself around them. The more you repeat something, an idea, a feeling, a skill, the deeper that path becomes. Imagine walking through a dense forest. The first time you push through the brush, it's slow, unfamiliar. But if you return again and again, the path begins to clear. It becomes easier, quicker. Eventually, it becomes second nature. Your brain works like that. That's how you learn to speak, to ride a bike, to love someone, to heal, to believe. Every repetition deepens the trail. And here's something beautiful. This means change is always possible. No matter how deep your patterns run, your brain is willing to try something new, willing to build again, willing to heal. Even pain, even fear, are not permanent shapes. They are patterns. And patterns can be unlearned, rewritten, softened. When you choose to be kind, even to yourself, your brain takes note. When you sit in stillness, when you forgive, when you try again, the brain rewires itself in response. It doesn't care how small the step is. It only notices that you moved. This is how hope becomes real, not as a feeling, but as a structure. A physical change inside your own mind. And the more you understand this, the more powerful it becomes. Not because you control everything, but because you influence it. Because you get to shape your own wiring. Even now, in this moment, that shaping is happening. You're not just learning about your brain. Your brain is learning about you. And as your brain learns, it begins to build a map. Not a map made of roads or landmarks, but of sensations, sounds, colors, faces. It's how you know your way home. How you remember the taste of your favorite meal. How the smell of an old book can carry you back to a rainy afternoon from years ago. This map begins with perception. Right now, your eyes are gathering light. Your ears are catching tiny vibrations. Your skin is feeling the softness of the air, maybe the warmth of a blanket. But none of these signals make sense until they reach your brain. That's the strange part. You don't see with your eyes. You see with your brain. Your eyes are only collectors. The real image, the picture you're seeing even now, is something your mind creates inside complete darkness. Sound is the same. When someone speaks, Your ears catch waves in the air. But the meaning? The emotion behind those words? That's crafted entirely in your brain. Every voice you've ever loved lives not in the air, but within your memory of how it made you feel. Touch, taste, smell, they all follow the same path. From body to brain. From sensation to meaning. And that moment of meaning, that tiny flash when something becomes real, is when memory begins. But memory is not a file cabinet. It's not a library where you pull out dusty books. Memory is more like a living echo. Every time you recall a moment, your brain rebuilds it. It colors in the gaps. It updates the context. That's why memories feel different over time. You're not just remembering, you're recreating. And sometimes, the recreation is stronger than the truth. Think of a song that reminds you of someone. You don't just hear the melody, you feel the presence. The room. The moment. Your brain paints it all back into being. Not because it's playing a recording, but because it's imagining it again, based on your emotion, your longing, your sense of connection. That's the secret. Memory isn't just a record of the past. It's a mirror of who you are now. Your mind decides what to keep and what to let go. It protects you. It surprises you. Sometimes it hides what's too painful. Other times, it brings back a tiny, beautiful detail you hadn't thought of in years. And just like perception, memory can be trained. The more you practice noticing the world, the more clearly your memories take shape. The more present you are, the deeper the imprint. When you truly listen, truly observe, your brain writes those moments more vividly, more lastingly. So perhaps memory isn't about remembering everything. Perhaps it's about choosing what to carry forward. And in that quiet decision, your brain reveals its deepest power. It doesn't just store life. It shapes the story you tell yourself about it. And that story, the one your brain is telling, it's not fixed. It changes, moment by moment, depending on what you choose to notice. Because here's the quiet truth most people overlook. Your brain doesn't just record what's real. It records what you give your attention to. If you focus on stress, your brain becomes better at finding it. If you look for joy, your brain begins to recognize it more quickly, more often. It's not magic, it's wiring. It's practice. It's a sculptor shaping the soft clay of your perception with every moment of awareness. Even now, your brain is learning what matters to you. Did you pause during that last sentence? Did a memory flicker? A thought? A breath? That moment mattered. Because the more present you are in any given moment, the more likely it becomes a part of you. Not just as a fleeting experience, but as a thread woven into the fabric of your mind. And presence doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just noticing the pattern of light on the wall. The way your body softens when you exhale. The quiet between words. These are the moments your brain remembers. Not because they're important to the world, but because they were real to you. The most extraordinary thing is that you get to choose this. Over and over. You can teach your brain to value calm, to recognize silence as meaningful, to trust stillness as a kind of strength. When you give your full attention to something simple, like a deep breath, a kind voice, a soft sound, You are literally changing the shape of your mind. You are saying, "This matters." And your brain listens. It responds. It builds around that signal. And the more you repeat it, the stronger that response becomes. You're not forcing anything. You're guiding gently, like lighting a candle in a dark hallway. Enough light to see the next step. Enough warmth to soften the path forward. And isn't that what we're all really looking for? Not a perfect memory, not a flawless mind, but a sense of connection, a sense of peace, a feeling that we're safe to slow down and just be. And as you let that idea settle, notice how your brain receives it. Softly, quietly, without needing to rush. Because the brain doesn't need noise to grow. Sometimes, the most powerful changes happen in silence. And once you begin to notice, to truly notice, something quietly powerful begins to shift. The brain, once this strange mystery behind your eyes, starts to feel more familiar, more personal, like a silent companion, always there, always working, always adjusting, always waiting for you to slow down and listen. And noticing, really noticing, isn't just awareness. It's care. It's presence. And care rewires us in ways we're only just beginning to understand. Because when you care for something, when you offer it patience, attention, gentleness, it begins to respond. Not instantly, but steadily, softly. And your brain is no different. It doesn't thrive on pressure. It thrives on rhythm, on rest, on the spaces between doing. The human brain wasn't built for constant urgency. It was built for cycles, for rising and falling, focusing and resting, acting and reflecting. It blooms not with speed, but with softness. You don't need to meditate perfectly. You don't need to solve anything tonight. You don't have to become someone else. Sometimes, what your brain needs most is simply space to breathe. A quiet walk. A meal without rushing. The gentle unfolding of a thought with no need to name it. These moments, small as they may seem, tell your brain, it's safe now. And when it feels safe, it begins to reorganize. It lets go of what it doesn't need. It clears the noise. It begins, slowly, to rest. That's not poetry, it's biology. It's what sleep does. What stillness does. What calm, intentional care does. Even now, your brain might be untangling something. Something it's been holding quietly for a long time. Dreams are part of that, too. Not just random scenes, but messages, maybe. Emotional echoes. Soft metaphors. Your brain, speaking in a language deeper than words, trying to make sense of what it carries. And even when you're awake, that same kind of clarity is still available. Stillness is not empty. It's where the most meaningful rewiring begins. When you let yourself feel, without rushing to fix it, your brain listens. When you forgive yourself for forgetting, for stumbling, for needing rest, your mind softens its grip. It creates space for clarity to return. When you simply breathe, deeply, gently, your nervous system listens. Your heartbeat slows, and your thoughts begin to land where they belong. This isn't weakness. This isn't giving up. This is healing. This is trust. Your brain isn't just reacting to the world. It's responding to you. It hears how you speak to yourself. It learns from what you focus on. It grows from what you give it permission to feel. So if tonight you choose rest, your brain will begin to believe in rest again. If tonight you choose gentleness, your brain will start to favor that, too. And over time, the little things begin to matter more than you expect. Not because they fix everything in a single night, but because they teach your mind a new rhythm. A softer one. A true one. One that says, you're safe now. You can exhale. And your brain listens. It always has. Right now, something is shifting inside you. A quiet rearranging. A subtle softening. And maybe you don't feel it fully yet, but a part of you does. And that part is enough. You're not broken. You're not too late. You're not behind. You are in motion. You are healing. And your brain is right there with you. Just keep breathing. The rest will come. And maybe now you begin to feel it. Not just the facts. Not just the imagery painted by words. But something deeper. Something quieter. A soft awareness blooming in the background of your thoughts. As if a part of your mind, one that had been waiting patiently in silence, has finally stirred awake. And it's not loud. It doesn't need to be. It just is. This isn't just knowledge. It's recognition. A returning to something you've always known. That your brain is not just flesh and code. That your thoughts are not random. That your memories are not static. That your dreams are not illusions. They all mean something. They always have. You've just been too busy, too tired, too distracted to notice. But now, maybe you do. Not because you memorized a fact. Not because anyone told you to believe it. But because it felt real. And that feeling, that quiet, steady, unmistakable feeling, is what your brain has been building toward all along. There's something beautiful about realizing you don't need to fight for every bit of change. That healing doesn't always come from effort. That clarity doesn't always come from thinking harder. Sometimes, stillness is what makes the difference. Sometimes it's the pause, not the push, that helps the mind begin to realign. You don't have to rush. You don't have to solve everything tonight. You don't even have to know where you're going. Because the truth is, your brain is already doing what it does best. Listening, adjusting, learning, growing, quietly, gently, faithfully. And that's enough. You've done something good for yourself tonight. Something more powerful than you might realize. You took the time to wonder, to care, to step away from the noise and back into yourself. You didn't chase answers. You made space for the right questions. You didn't force clarity. You invited it in. And now, your mind is responding. You may not feel different yet. But something shifted. A thought softened. A breath deepened. A corner of your mind opened just enough to let the light in. That's how change begins. Quietly, without fanfare, with a gentle kind of trust. And maybe, just maybe, when you wake tomorrow, or a week from now, or even years in the future, you'll find this feeling still echoing somewhere inside you. Not the exact words, but the space they gave you, the calm they brought, the quiet they allowed, the soft reminder that your brain, your being, was never broken, never beyond healing, never too far gone to return to peace. Because you are capable of more than you were ever told. Not because you're perfect, but because you are present. And presence is power. Your brain isn't holding on. It's evolving. It's adapting. It's beginning again. And maybe that's what you needed to hear all along. Not a solution. Not a lecture. But a whisper. A reminder that everything you're feeling makes sense. And that right here, in this gentle space, you are okay. Not just okay. Safe. Held. Heard. This wasn't just about understanding the brain. It was about remembering who you are inside it. The thinker. The dreamer. The one who wonders. The one who feels deeply. The one who's still here, still growing, still trying. And now, as the thoughts begin to quiet, and the body begins to soften, let this moment settle around you like a blanket. Let it hold what words can't explain. Because your brain is listening. Your mind is healing. And you? You're doing better than you think. You are enough. You have always been enough. And even now, especially now, you're still becoming.